Hi, everyone. My name is Kelsey. I'm the Nutrition Operations Manager for Choices Market. Thanks for joining us today for a really exciting seminar we have with Chef Mandy. All right, so Chef Mandy is the executive chef at the Red Accordion, where she cooks elevated comfort classics with a West Coast meets Italian flair. Chef Mandy is going to teach us a few simple methods how to prepare a couple pieces of beautiful, nutritious lamb recipes that you can do right from home today. We're really excited to have Chef Mandy on, and we will let you take it away. And if anybody has any questions, they can ask it in the comment box below, and we'll address those more at the end.
Perfect. Thank you, Kelsey. Okay, so super excited to be here and working with this beautiful product. First things first, guys, if you haven't done this already, just go ahead and preheat your oven to 375 degrees. And we're just going to do a quick check to make sure that we have all the utensils needed. So you definitely will need a pair of tongs. I've got some tasting spoons here, chef knife. We're going to need 2 pans for this evening if you're going to be doing both recipes. About a 10-inch and a 14-inch I'm going to be using today. So the first recipe that we're going to be doing is the 24 karat and gold. So that is the heirloom carrots in the lamb rack. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to just preheat our pan here. Do it on a low heat. You always want to make sure that you're preheating your pans nice and low, so it gives the metals time to contract so that your food's not going to stick. So I'm going to go on a nice low heat here. And we're going to be starting off with some canola and some olive oil. Okay, so while our pan is preheating, go ahead and take your lamb rack. If you've got some paper towel handy, we're just going to take some of that moisture off. And the reason why we're taking off that moisture is because we want to make sure that we get a really good deep sear. And if you have moisture on your protein, you will not get that deep caramelization, which we're looking for, which adds to the flavor of it, okay? So with a nice sharp knife, we're going to cut our lamb rack. You don't have to do this, but I'm going to do this to make it easier for myself. We're just going to cut it in half, just like that. And you also want to make sure that you got your salt and pepper close by. Go ahead and take your oils. I'm going to be using equal parts of olive oil to canola oil. Go around the world, just like that. And we want to make sure that as we're preheating our pan, what we're looking for really good indication that it's ready are whiffs of smoke and shiny oil. So I'm just going to go ahead and turn up just a touch here. There you go. Okay. So when we're seasoning our proteins, any protein that we're using, especially lamb, you want to start with your pepper first. The reason why we're doing our pepper first is when you add salt to your proteins, it tends to pull out the moisture. And we've just dried our proteins off, so the last thing we want is something that's going to pull the moisture out. Go ahead and season it a good amount. Don't be scared of your seasoning. We're going to do both sides, as well as the surfaces on the sides here. So go ahead and flip it over, just like that. Keep an eye on your pan. You definitely don't want it to get too hot. Beauty. There we go. All right. So just going to check on the heat of our pan here. Make sure that you have a towel or a oven mitt or glove close by so you're not burning yourself. There we go. And I'm just going to grab some butter really quick. I'll be right back. Beauty. There we go. Okay, so now that we've got some pepper seasoned on our lamb, we're going to go ahead and add some salt. Just like that. Go ahead and do a good amount of salt. One of the errors that a lot of people make is that they don't season their food properly. They get a little bit intimidated by it. Don't be intimidated. Salt is good for you. There we go. Flip it over. Get the other side. There we go. Keep an eye on your pan. And I don't know if I mentioned this, but your oven should be at 375 degrees preheated. There we go. So I've got a good amount of salt on there. It looks like it's a lot, but you have to keep in mind it has to penetrate the meat. There you go. All right, so we're looking pretty good here. Awesome. So my pan looks pretty good to go. I'm gonna go ahead and put my lamb in. When you're putting your proteins in a pan, anything you're putting into a pan, make sure you're putting it away from you. Just make sure you don't have any splatter back. You don't want to burn yourself. There we go. And that sizzle that you hear is nice and comfy. It's really, really sexy. I'm gonna turn my pan down just to a medium heat. And what we're looking for is we want to kind of render out any of that fat that's on it. That adds the flavor. Okay, go ahead and just gonna wash my cutting board here. There we go. So now at this stage, you want to make sure that you've got a spoon handy, which I do, as well as a pair of tongs. There we go. So we're looking for a really beautiful caramelization of that protein. Make sure that you got your butter close by. The aromas off this pan smell amazing. It's so nice to work with such a beautiful product. There we go. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and add my butter in. You wanna make sure you have your spoon close by because when we flip our meat, we're going to be basting the lamb with that butter as well as those little fats that have kind of been taken out of that protein there. Do not burn your butter. We're using a beautiful grass-fed, unsalted butter for this, but don't burn your butter, it will get bitter. All right, very carefully, you can use tongs if you want. I'm gonna be using my hands. I'm gonna flip your lamb. Nice and careful. Using some of those fats and that beautiful butter on the bottom of the pan, I'm gonna add one more. You can't really go wrong with too much butter. I'm gonna take that butter, just gonna start basting the top of it. So what we're doing is we're adding flavor. Of course, we're also doing cooking from the bottom and the top. There we go. So I don't know about you, but it smells amazing. I can really tell that this is gonna be a really gorgeous piece of meat. I've had this meat myself. It's served at the Red Accordion. Our guests go crazy for it. Really excited about this. There we go. So this frothiness is the perfect temperature for your butter. If you're losing that frothiness, it's because your heat is too high. Either take your pan off the heat to control the heat and turn your heat down, but this is perfect. There we go, nice and careful, nice calculated movements here. So for this lamb, I really want to go a really beautiful medium rare. So we're looking at about a 145 Fahrenheit. You can have this lamb rare, you can have it mid-well, you can have it well done. The great thing about this product is it does retain moisture very, very well, and the flavor is untouchable. So you really can't go wrong, but I like my lamb to be medium rare to medium. Okay, so hopefully your oven is preheated at this point to 375. And what we're gonna do is we're going to put our lamb in the oven for about 7 minutes. There we go. Okay, beauty. In the meantime, you should have some fresh pomegranate here. You should have some beautiful heirloom carrots, whatever greens that you decided to use. We're gonna be using some baby arugula. I also took some of the tips off of the ends of the carrots. They are really beautiful garnish. They are edible. They do have a fibrous texture to them, but they are really delicious. And yeah, at this point, we're gonna take some of our carrots and we're going to just cut them in half. So these carrots are actually quite large. I'm going to make a cut down the center to make it easier for me to deal with. I'm gonna cut it in half as well. What I'm trying to do is give surface area because when our lamb gets close to being done, we're gonna be adding our carrots into the pan to do the cooking. There we go. To do the cooking. I hope you know what I meant by that. There we go. Once you have your carrots cut, just go ahead and pop them to the side. And the next thing that we're going to be doing is we're going to be working on our cardamom spiced yogurt for our lamb dish today. There you go. Just be careful. Cutting round vegetables is a bit tricky sometimes. They tend to kind of, especially if your knife isn't sharp, so just be nice and careful here. I'm going to cut this one in half just a little bit. There we go. These recipes are geared for a family of 4. I will not be cooking it for 4 people, but just keep that in mind when you're doing this recipe. Mine is also going to be a little bit smaller than yours. There we go. Beauty. If you need to set a timer for your lamb, go for it. I'm going to be using my internal clock. Hopefully it doesn't fail me today. Who knows? Okay, there we go. Okay, so carrots are good to go. Next thing we're going to be doing, if you have your stainless steel bowl handy, go ahead and grab that. We're going to be making our spiced cardamom yogurt. So I've already gone ahead and toasted my cardamom. Go ahead and kind of use as much as you'd like. I'm going to start with about a cup here of yogurt. So this is a really beautiful grass-fed yogurt that you can find at Choices. I'm going to be using about a cup or so. So this recipe has never been done before. This is completely designed for this demo. So good for you, good for me. Okay, so I'm going to be adding about a teaspoon of toasted cardamom, ground cardamom. You can use cardamom pods, just be careful. It is super, super assertive. Give that a mix. There we go. And we're also going to be adding some fresh ginger as well as some lemon zest. Go ahead and play around with this. These are the flavors that I chose to use today, but garlic would be great in this. You can use some fresh dill, fresh basil, fresh oregano. Like, go ahead and experiment to what you want. That's one of the joys about cooking, is there's really no rules with anything. You just kind of do what you want. All right, I'm going to take that peel off the ginger just like this. Go ahead and taste your product. I've already tasted this ginger. It is very, very beautiful. It's got a lot of flavor to it. So I'm not going to use too much. I would say about a teaspoon or so. And we're just going to cut that into these little cute little chunks. There you go. Ginger flavor tends to travel very, very well, especially when you're mixing it in with a fat, so, something like yogurt or coconut milk. It's a really beautiful, especially going into spring. It pairs very, very well with the lamb. So I'm pretty excited about this. I'm just going to go ahead and put a wet rag under my cutting board real quick. There we go. All right. Beauty. Okay. So we're looking for a pretty small dice on this ginger. Because it is so assertive, you really want to be careful with it. Getting a chunk of ginger can be overwhelming for your palate. So just be careful. But it is a really great ingredient to use because it is healthy. It's got tons of antioxidants and all those good things in it. So pretty excited about this. Doing a nice rough chop here. There we go. All right, so we're going to go ahead and put that into our yogurt. We're going to add some pepper, just like that, and some olive oil. I don't know if I put this in the recipe, but I'm going to add some. I basically put olive oil on everything. Okay, so next thing we want to do is taste it. A lot of people think that your knife is the most important tool when theoretically it is your spoon. You want to make sure that everything tastes delicious. I'm going into my trusty pocket here, find a spoon. Yeah, that's delicious. I'm gonna add some salt to it. Those flavors are really, really beautiful. The more it sits, the better it's gonna taste. Beauty. Okay, so we're just gonna go ahead and check on our lamb here. It's been about 5 minutes or so. Make sure it's doing some beautiful things, which I'm sure it is. It smells amazing. Okay. So just going to go ahead and give it a squeeze on the side. If you do have your thermometer on hand, go ahead and do an internal check. You're looking for 145. I can tell that mine is just a little bit rare right now, which is totally fine. Okay, at this stage, I'm just going to flip it. As meat cooks, as protein cooks, the moisture of it kind of comes out. Gravity does its thing. So when we flip it, it manipulates the juices back into the meat. Okay, so it kind of stays in there. Okay, we're gonna pop this into the oven for about 2 more minutes here. Okay, while that is doing its thing, have a plate handy because you want to make sure that when that meat comes out of the oven, it has time to rest. You put all that work into cooking the meat. The worst thing is cutting meat when it just came out, all those beautiful juices getting wasted. We don't want that. My plate here, I'll put a piece of paper towel down. There we go. Okay, in the meantime, while we're waiting for the next minute and a half or so, work on your pomegranate. I already kind of went ahead and kind of did mine. So if you're cutting pomegranate, having a spoon handy is perfect. You can make a cut around the top, which I did, which you can see the segments of the pomegranate. Long story short, you can break it. And then using the back of a spoon, just kind of hit those seeds out, which is what I did. But that's what you want to be working on right now. And then taste it. You know, pomegranate usually is nice and tart, but we want to check the acid level as well as the sweetness because we are going to be adding lemon juice. You want to make sure that's nice and balanced. That's delicious, by the way. Okay, so next thing we're going to do is we're going to check on our lamb. The smells are beautiful. And I'm pretty happy with that. I'm going to pull my lamb out of the pan. Once again, I'm looking for a medium rare. Like I've mentioned before, you can totally cook this rare. You can cook it well done. I wouldn't suggest it, but you totally can. It's going to be flavorful and beautiful no matter what. There you go. Now to this pan, leave all of those beautiful flavors there. We're going to be adding our carrots. Try and put your carrots down, flat surface down first. It's just going to make it easier for those that surface to caramelize. And we're not looking for we're looking for an al dente vegetable. We're not looking for it to be overdone. We want to keep some texture to it. So yeah, there we go. So we have not seasoned the actual carrots themselves, but I know that there's a lot of seasoning left in the pan. So when I do season the top, it's just going to be nice and light. And just so we're on the same page here, guys, I still have my heat on the bottom. I'm going to turn it up just a touch here. I'm at about a medium high. Be careful of your handle. There we go. Don't overcrowd your pan. We definitely don't want to give any steam off. Steam is going to make it soft. And it's going to make it really tricky to get that caramelization that we're looking for. So that should be pretty good. Put a little bit of black pepper in there. Okay, so those look beautiful. I'm going to pop this pan back into the oven for about 4 minutes. Go ahead and turn the heat off. Okay. So in the meantime, we'll just check over our ingredients here really quick. I'm going to be working with some arugula. I've got my mint here. If you're using mint, go ahead and tear your mint off into your arugula bowl, just like that. All right, I'm getting rid of that. I'm not sure what plates you guys are using. I'm going to be using this cute little vintage plate that is from our restaurant. Just on the side here. For a second. All right. So go ahead and taste your yogurt again. It's had some time to kind of develop those flavors. It should be tasting really beautiful, which it is. That cardamom really comes through. It's nice and floral. It's going to work really, really well with the lamb. Very exciting. And anything that you don't need right now, we'll just get out of the way. Beauty. Okay, so we're going to just check our meat. If you have your meat on your resting plate and it's been sitting on one side, go ahead and flip it because once again, we want to manipulate those juices so that your protein stays nice and succulent on the inside. Okay, so there we go. That's flipped. Yogurt's good to go. All right, our next thing that we're going to be doing, we'll be seasoning our greens. Whenever you're seasoning your greens and you're using an olive oil and an acid, make sure that you use your olive oil first, okay? Because what that does, it protects your greens. chlorophyll, which is this pigment, is very, very delicate. So we want to make sure that we're taking care of it. So olive oil, you can toss it with a spoon, tongs, whatever you want. I'm going to be using my hands. I like to feel my ingredients, just like that. I actually think I want to add just a touch more lemon zest to this, just to give a bit more flavor. Beauty. Awesome. You can never have too much flavor, unless it's too salty. Then that's a whole different subject. But the more flavor that you can put into your food, the better it tastes, right? That's what we're going for. All right, so that's a good amount of lemon zest in there. I'm done with that. Okay, just give that a quick toss. Because we're using arugula, I am going to season it with some pepper, but not too much. Arugula does tend to be peppery, so just a touch. There we go. All right, so now that we're kind of almost close to plating, you want to make sure that you've got a pair of tongs, your sharp knife again, and a spoon that's handy. Just like that. I'm just going to check on those carrots really quick, see what they're doing. All right. They're still a little bit firm, so I'm just going to put them in the oven just a touch longer. But in the meantime, while we're waiting on our carrots, we can go ahead and start slicing our lamb. It's rested for about 4 minutes now. There we go. All right. Let's give my quick wipe. Okay. So for this guy, I'm probably going to slice it into about three pieces, pardon me. There you go. That is a absolutely gorgeous medium rare. I'm not saying that just because I cooked it. I'm saying it because it is. Sorry. So one thing about lamb racks, it's a little bit tricky. The bones do tend to kind of come in on the side a bit. It makes it a bit kind of tricky cutting it, but just try your best. Don't get overwhelmed by it. It's all good. That is really beautiful. I'm going to try again on this side. Gorgeous. Okay. So here we go. Hopefully this time it's a little bit smoother. Hold on a second. There we go. Get it? Nice. So it's got some really nice glisten to it. It's medium rare, which is absolutely beautiful. I'm excited to try that. I don't know if I'm going to try it today, this one, but yeah. Okay, I'm just going to give this a wipe really quick. All right, now we can check on our carrots. They're most likely done. Once again, we're not looking for a soft carrot. We're looking for something that does have some texture to it. Let's take a peek here. There we go. Just want to check from the center. Yeah, those, there we go. So it is nice and it's nice and tender. I guess that's the best way to describe the carrots is you're looking for a nice tender product. But these are nice and gently caramelized. They look beautiful. I'm going to taste the num-nums in there. Delicious. Okay, and now we're going to start plating. I did not add lemon juice to my arugula yet. We're going to do that right now. Just a touch. You want to make sure that when you're adding your ingredients, you're paying attention to the flavors that you've developed. I know that the yogurt's got some tartness to it, and like tang is a better word to describe it. So I'm not going to add too much. Just a touch, just like that. Beauty. So I'm going to start with the sauce on the bottom of the plate here. Just going to move some stuff around. Beauty. There's no real rules in terms of how you want to eat your food. If you want to put the sauce, the yogurt on top of the lamb, totally go for it. It's completely up to you. Like I said, there's no rules. And if there are, go ahead and break them. It's all good. No one's going to judge you. All right, so I'm going to put the carrots down first. And I love these heirloom carrots. They've got such beautiful contrast of colors, a lot of depth. They're really beautiful right now going into spring. We use them at the restaurant. We literally just did a dish which featured hand-picked lamb at the restaurant. People lost their mind over it. Not surprised. Okay, so once again, this is going to be for, I'm going to say a one person portion. I would definitely have some stuff left over. Now to here, I want to add some of those really beautiful pomegranate seeds. Pomegranate is really, really gorgeous. It's underutilized, it's underrated, but it's one of my favorite fruits products to work with because it gives you that pop of freshness that you're looking for, especially when you're dealing with something that is a meat product. It kind of alleviates your palate a little bit. It kind of brings it somewhere else. So that's why I love it so much. So we're going to add some of that to the bottom of the plate. Once again, the sky is the limit in terms of how you want to plate this. Go ahead, be creative. We need some of those carrot tops for garnish as well as texture. Just going to kind of add that to the plate there, wherever you want. You know what, because we have olive oil handy, let's add some olive oil there too. Why not? Lamb, beautiful medium rare lamb. Let's put that just to the side. If you want, maybe we can interlock it. No, let's just stick to this one. There we go. I'm gonna add some of those greens to the side there. If you want to have the greens like in a different bowl, go for it. You do not need to add this to the plate. It's completely up to you. Okay. And then for our crunch, we're gonna add some pine nuts. Pine nuts are really beautiful as well. Okay, so that is our hand-picked lamb rack. Really beautiful stuff. Just like that. I'm gonna put all this stuff to the side. If I wasn't on camera, I would totally be in there with a lamb rack hanging out of my mouth. I'm not gonna do that today. I'm gonna be super classy. Okay, so we're done with the 24 carats in gold. We're gonna move on to a few of my favorite things. And why is it named that? It's literally because they are my favorite things. I love Greek salads. So a lot of these flavors will have, this plate will have a lot of those flavors to it. I'm just gonna move this, try and be as graceful as possible. There you go. Okay, so hopefully everyone's up to speed there. If you're not, I apologize. All right, so perfect. Okay, so we're gonna keep our oven at 375 degrees still. And what we're going to be doing is I'm gonna move all of my mise en place to this side. There you go. That lamb rack is just staring at me. It's like calling my name, but I'm gonna fight it. Won't do it. Okay. All right, so for this dish, I will be cooking the 4 sirloins, which is actually one of my favorite products from our friends at Handpicked New Alliance. Sorry. Okay, anyways, here we go. I love this product because it is beautiful. It's succulent. My mouth is solving just thinking about it. But it's got a ton of flavor. It's very, very, very versatile. You can grill it. You can sous vide it. You can pan sear it. You can roast it. You might even be able to do a tartare with it. I'm not really sure. I haven't tried that. Maybe I will. Same thing that we did with the lamb racks. We want to make sure that we're taking out that moisture. Okay, so just 1 second here. Graceful. Okay. There we go. So these are about a 6-ounce portion. Give your meat a quick check here. Check for connective tissue. So anything that looks like something like this. This isn't too much. I'm going to just leave that there. But just give it a check. Give it a feel. Give it a smell. That looks beautiful. There we go. And same thing that we did with our racks. We're going to preheat our pan to, I'm gonna start nice and low here. There we go. We will be using our canola oil as well as our olive oil once around the world. Same thing, just like that. Beautiful. Okay, because we're gonna be cooking polenta, you wanna make sure that you've got, I'm gonna be using a small saucepan here. In this pan, I've got some chicken stock, which you can find at Choices. If you wanna make your own chicken stock, it's definitely encouraged. Anyways, so we got some chicken stock in here, about 3 cups. I've got a knob of grass-fed butter in there. I'm gonna add some olive oil to that. I'm gonna add some pepper. And what we're doing right now is we're flavoring the stock because once again, we wanna add as much flavor into our product as possible, okay? So we've got our pepper in there, olive oil, butter, chicken stock, and some salt. Now I've already tasted this stock. Go ahead and taste it, see where the sodium levels are. And we're gonna turn that on to a medium heat. Oh, the knob's missing, okay. Just switch it here. Oh, wrong one. There we go. If you're at home and you've got bay leaves on hand, thyme on hand, any other cool herbs, go ahead and add it to it. Like I said, the more flavor, the better. Okay, so in the meantime, while we've got our chicken stock that's coming up to heat, we've got our pan that's doing its thing, and our lamb is coming up to temp, we're just gonna go ahead and start processing our vegetables. Just wait a second here. You will need a medium-sized bowl or a stainless steel bowl on hand. There you go. I'm literally just going to reuse my arugula bowl. It's totally fine. Okay, so starting with our tomatoes, we're going to take that bottom off. I'm going to be using probably about 3 Roma tomatoes. There we go. And we're just going to make some cuts down the center here. Just like that. Once again, guys, go ahead and taste your ingredients. Tomatoes aren't exactly in season right now, but go ahead and taste it anyway. See where the flavor profile is at, as well as the firmness. It's actually really good. Okay. Should have took a smaller bite. All good. Perfect. So I slice it down the middle. I'm going to do the same thing to this side. I'm looking for a small to medium dice. Be careful. Hopefully you've got a nice sharp knife on hand. Once we're done slicing this, we're just going to put it into our medium-sized bowl there. Keep an eye on your heat on your pans. It's looking pretty good. Once again, we're looking for some shine. This pan is super heavy. We're looking for some shine as well as a little bit of smoke to tell us that the pan is ready to go. I'm going to do the same thing with the rest of the tomatoes here. I just sharpened my knife. I'm pretty happy about that. Nothing worse than cutting a tomato and your knife is dull. It's like the worst thing ever. There you go. Oops. All right. So you should have some red onion on hand, some fresh garlic cloves, arugula, Kalamata olives, all those delicious things. Once again, if you've got some stuff in the fridge that you need to use up and you're looking to a perfect place to put it in, this is where it's a kind of like a salsa, like a worm salsa. But go ahead and add whatever it is to it. The more flavor, the better. Don't be shy. Our ratio for our polenta, looking for about a 4-to-1 ratio. So I've got a cup of this guy here. This is like a medium to coarse yellow corn polenta here. That's what we're gonna be using. You can also use grits, but you can also use risotto. Really, like I said, like the sky is the limit. All right, I'm gonna keep going here. Beauty. Cut that down. There we go. My pan looks like it's almost ready. So I'm just gonna, after I cut this tomato, I'm just gonna take a quick second here to season my my lamb sirloin, sorry. There we go. You don't have to have perfect cuts here either. Rustic is super, it's also perfect. We're not looking for like perfection. It's just about flavor, right? Okay, so that's good to go. So I'm gonna start looking at my lamb here. Once again, you wanna make sure that your surface is nice and dry. And now we're gonna go ahead and season it with some cracked black pepper. There we go. Beauty. Go ahead, get crazy with, well, don't go crazy, but go ahead and season it well. Once again, we're doing the pepper first because we want to make sure that we're not extracting any moisture from our protein, okay? Get a little bit of an arm workout while you're doing this, which is great. Beauty. Flip those bad boys over. Okay. Same with the other side. Keep an eye on your pan here, guys. You can tell mine is getting pretty close. The one thing that we have to be a little bit careful with these sirloins is they are very, very lean. So once again, we are going to be looking for a medium rare cook on this. If you want to go rare, that's no problem. I've had it basically all ways at the restaurant to make sure that I know what I'm giving my guests. Saying that we don't offer well done product because we want to make sure that we give integrity to the meat. We want to make sure that it's cooked the right way. Okay. All right, so let's check our pan heat here. I can tell it's looking pretty good. It's got a really nice glisten to it. I'm gonna turn my heat up just a touch here, guys. There we go. Once again, I want to make sure that this product is getting a really deep, beautiful caramelization that adds to the flavor of it, okay? All right, so we're gonna go ahead with our salt. Once again, this looks like a lot, but you have to keep in mind a lot of this is gonna fall off in the pan, right? There we go. Just kind of tap that in a bit. Flip it over. Make sure that you got tongs close by. I see mine over there. There we go. All right. Boom. Just gonna grab those tongs real quick, and we are gonna get going. That's a quick little dab. Okay, so once again, when we're dealing with our meat, fish, whatever it is, we want to make sure when we're laying it into the pan, we're laying it away from us. You should hear a really beautiful sizzle, which we do, which is great. That indicates that the pan is ready. Make sure that your pan has some space in it. You want to keep at least a 2-finger width apart so that you're preventing it from steaming. There you go. Beauty. I'm going to turn my heat down just a touch here. I can tell it's just a little bit too hot, which is totally fine. But there we go. Control it. All right. Just going to give my my polenta broth a taste to make sure it's good to go. I do have some oregano, some stems that I've got close by. I'm going to add to it. I'm going to add a bit of salt in there. There we go. There we go. Once again, using up all little bits and pieces. There's a ton of flavor in stems. It might not be edible to your palate. It's a little bit tough, but it does pack a punch in terms of flavor. All right. Boom. Okay. So I'm going to add a few knobs of butter here. Once again, we're looking for it to be nice and frothy. Looks like it's a good, healthy amount of butter. All right. Make sure my tongs are nice and dry here. These are going to cook pretty quick. So I'm going to flip them in the same way that I put them into the pan. There we go. So it's got some really nice caramelization there. All that caramelization, all those sticks at the bottom of the pan, all that is a ton of flavor. That's what we're looking for. Okay. There we go. And we're going to be doing the same thing that we did with our lamb racks. We're going to baste the top. There you go. So nice and careful. If you're using a large pan like I am, just kind of pop them to the side a bit. Tilt your pan a touch. And we're going to start basting. There you go. The smell is beautiful. The one thing that I love about this product is you don't lose any of the weight. That 6 ounce is going to be pretty close to 6 ounce by the time that we're finished with it, which is really beautiful. There's some products out there that you cook it and it turns into not much, whether it's full of saline or whatever the case may be. This product does not have it. It's done right. And that's why I think we love working with it as much as we do. And we're very grateful for that. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with this. I'm going to go ahead and pop it into the oven. Once again, I'm looking at about a 6-minute mark here. This is a super heavy pan. Okay, just 1 second. There we go. Beauty. Okay, now it's time to multitask. In the meantime, your stock should be pretty good to go. Mine's come up to a boil. I've already tasted it. I've added some butter, some olive oil, some salt, some pepper, some of those stems from the oregano. And now we're going to add our polenta to it. So turn your heat down When you're cooking polenta, any grains, you kind of want to go slow-ish. Don't quote me on that, but we're going to go nice and slow on this so that the grain itself has a chance to absorb that flavor. So that's about 3 cups or so to 1 cup of polenta. Here we go. All right, so I'm going to turn my heat down to about a medium. Get a spoon handy. I'm just going to kind of get it going here. I don't want it to stick and I don't want it to clump. Theoretically, a whisk would be the best tool for this. If you have a whisk, go ahead and use it. I'm going to be using a spoon, totally fine. And I'm going to turn this down to a nice, comfy simmer. Just kind of let it do its thing. I want my polenta to be nice and loose. Like I want it to be easy for your palate. There's nothing worse than having like risotto that's super, super thick or polenta that's super, super thick. It should be nice and creamy. Your palate should be able to maneuver it the right way. There we go. So that looks good. Once again, I've got a really, really, really low heat here. Okay, and I'm just gonna put this on hold for a second and we're gonna jump right back into our veg mise en place. Turn this down. Beauty, just let that do its thing. I'm gonna add just a little bit of olive oil. Okay, so we've already started working on our tomatoes. We're gonna go right into our red onion here. I'm gonna take the top off, cut it in half. I'm gonna keep that end on. It's gonna help with cutting, but I'm just gonna keep it on there. I'm gonna show you a quick way to cut onions. Because it already has these natural layers to it, all you really need to do is just do a few cuts down and it will give you a nice small dice. It's not gonna be perfect, but that's okay. So this is about half an onion. If you don't like onions, totally fine. If it's too assertive for you, you can go ahead and use green onions or leeks would be really nice in here. If you've got ends at home, I'm putting mine just on a tray in the back, but go ahead and save it for stock. Don't throw those out. Veg stock, chicken stock, beef stock, whatever stock, all the stock. Okay, there we go. So I'm gonna keep going here. Keep an eye on your polenta, make sure it's not burning. This looks pretty good. There we go, so onions are going in. Awesome. I'm just gonna kind of straighten myself out here. Okay, so we're gonna use some cloves of garlic. If you like garlic, go crazy with it. I'm gonna be using about 2 cloves or so. Let's take a look at the size here. Yeah, I'd say about 2 cloves is gonna be more than enough. Processing garlic is pretty simple. If you got some aggression to take out, go for it. Just give it a good whack. There we go, just like that. You're gonna remove some of that, well not, you're gonna remove all of the peel, of course. Let's be real, okay, there we go. All right, let's just take a quick second here and go ahead and give our polenta a quick stir. All right, so that looks good. I'm actually just gonna pull this off the heat a bit. That's good to go. Turn that off. Okay, let's get our garlic minced. Once again, there's no rules to how much in terms of your, like, to what you're adding. Add whatever you want. Maybe you don't like garlic. It's all good. There we go. There we go. Into our bowl we go. So we got our tomatoes in there, our red onion in there. Now we've got our garlic in there. Beauty. A quick wipe down here. Okay. Kalamata olives. I'm gonna leave mine whole because I love olives. I love the flavor. I love the texture of them. If you are kind of on the fence about them and you're not quite into it, go ahead and just slice it in half, just like that, and add it to your bowl. But I love them. I'm gonna add them whole just like that. All right, so let's go ahead and check out our lamb sirloins here. Just give me a second. There we are. Okay, so once again, I'm gonna go by touch. I've cooked with this meat a lot. This is perfect for me. I can tell that the middle of it is gonna be beautiful, medium rare. I'm extremely excited about it. My mouth is salivating once again. It happens. All right, so I'm just gonna flip those bad boys and pop them onto our plate. But the aroma off here is lights out delicious. I'm pretty excited about this. Here we go. Now, this pan, do not get rid of any of that beautiful stuff that's going on in there. We want to use that because we're going to be cooking our salsa in there. Okay, so tomatoes, onions, garlic, Kalamata olives. The few things that we're missing are some sprigs of oregano. Once again, if you've got basil in-house, dill, mint, use whatever. You know, maybe you're going to find a new recipe that's just delicious. It's encouraged to try new things for sure. Give this a nice rough chop. Okay. All right, let's put that to the side for a second. I'm going to flip my meat just one more time to make sure that all of those juices are manipulated. Yeah, manipulated. Let's go with that. There we go. Those look beautiful. All right, so pan comes back to us. We're going to turn it on a high heat. Wait, hold on. There we go. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to add our broccoli to the pan. So one thing that you've noticed here is we're not using so many pots and pans. We're not overwhelming ourselves. We're basically doing everything in one, aside from the polenta, which is something that I definitely encourage to work smarter. Don't make it hard on yourself. There we go. Take those bottoms off. You can save them for a stock, veg stock, if you want. Go for it. And what we're looking for is obviously check your product, make sure it's got no bruises, that it's beautiful, which this is. Thank you, Choices, gorgeous ingredients. And we're gonna add this right to the pan. I did wash this, so be careful. If you did wash your ingredients, make sure that you know you're gonna get a little bit of splatter. Take cover. There we go. But we want that. It's just the moisture with the fat. It's all good. Just be careful. There we go. I'm going to season the top of the broccolini with just a touch of olive oil. We're going to add some salt in there. There we go. And we're literally just going to let it hang out and get a good, not a char. We want to sear it well on one side. So just don't touch it. Let it do its thing. So we've got our little mix here, a little sexy mix. It smells amazing. To this, we're going to add some black pepper. There we go. And what we're going to do is we are going to build our sauce in the same pan that we've cooked our lamb in. Making a little bit of a mess here, messy Mandy today. Sorry about that. Beauty. So if you're looking at your broccolini, which I am, you can really tell that there's some really beautiful fragrance coming from it. I can tell without even flipping it that the underside's got some nice color to it, and that's what we're looking for. Just gonna give it a quick little peek here. Yeah, those florets have got some really nice color. We're not looking to cook it too much. We want to keep the texture. We don't want to make, I call it baby food. I know it sounds horrible, but we're not making baby food here. You want to keep all that nutrition in there. The more you cook it, the more nutrition leaks out. And to this side, we're going to add, be careful, we're going to add our tomato, olive, onion, garlic, num-nums. There we go. Okay, let that do its thing. We're going to flip our lamb just one more time. Those look beautiful. Okay. And now we're going to check on our polenta. If during this time your polenta got a little bit tight, go ahead and add some more chicken stock. I think mine did, so I might have to just leave here just for a second. Yeah, I'm just going to go get some more chicken stock really quick. I'm going to take that oregano out, oregano stem. There we go. So just give me 1 second here. Okay. There we go. So I'm just gonna pull my polenta to the front. That's looking good. I've just pulled it off the heat for a second. This is a low sodium organic chicken broth that you can find at Choices. A really beautiful ingredients. If you're not able to make your own chicken stock, this is a really good alternative. Okay, so we got our polenta. We've rehydrated it with some chicken stock. We're gonna add some really gorgeous goat cheese to this. You might add some goat cheese to this and then some goat cheese on top. Who knows? Let's see what happens. Okay, so we'll break a piece off here. There we go. Give it a quick crumble. There you go. We're gonna add some butter, of course. I'm gonna turn my heat down just a touch. And we're just mixing it. We wanna make sure that we're gonna taste this before it hits the plate. So make sure you've got a offset spatula or a spoon on hand. If you've got some parsley on hand and you wanna add some chopped parsley to this, go for it. If you've got some truffles for some reason, you want some truffles or some truffle oil, go for it. Like I said, the sky is the limit. Okay, so that looks delicious. It's nice and not loose, it's tight, but it's, yeah, let's give it a taste. I'm gonna add some salt to that. Not too much salt because I know that I've seasoned the lamb pretty well. And I know that I've got some salty ingredients in here, plus the goat cheese, so just a little bit. It looks like I'm adding a lot. I'm not, I promise. All right, there we go. Maybe some more black pepper. All right, so we've got all of our num-nums good to go here. It's basically time to start plating. I'm just gonna clear this area out just a touch. There we go. Always trying to clean as we go. The worst thing is when you cook this really beautiful meal and then you've got this war zone of a kitchen to go back into. It's pretty scary, but we're gonna try to avoid that as much as possible. Okay, so I'm gonna turn the heat off of my polenta. Everything's pretty good to go here. It's really simple applications. Now, we're gonna start slicing. Now, when you're slicing meat especially, you wanna make sure that you're going against the grain. It does help in terms of the texture of it, and it nice and tender. We're looking for tender. I'm definitely gonna be tasting a piece of this. We're gonna cut it on a bias. There we go. So a nice little slice down the middle. I'm looking for a medium rare. That's gorgeous. It's closer to medium, but it's still beautiful. And like I've mentioned before, with this product, you can cook it well done. I don't suggest it, but if that's what you're into, that's what you're into. And let's just give it a quick taste here. Really, really beautiful and delicious. Nice and mild in terms of flavor. Gorgeous. Let's slice one more. That was so good. Yeah. It's delicious. Okay, I'm gonna push this to the side for a second, and we're gonna start plating here. Okay. One of these fancy plates here. Fancy pants. Oh, good. Here we go. All right, so we're gonna start with our polenta on the bottom. There we go. So like I said, I've chosen to use a tomato, like a tomato warm salsa, but this would be really, really good with some sauteed mushrooms, a chimichurri. We do a lot of chimichurri at the restaurant, the Red Accordion. It's a beautiful, beautiful sauce to use, really herbaceous. Okay, so we got that, that's good to go. I'm gonna grab our tongs. I'm gonna add some of our charred broccolini. When you're plating your broccolini, try and make sure that you got the florets out. Worst case, it's not the end of the world if they're in, all good. Maybe I'll just take half of that. All that caramelization, like those little bits of that, it's just like, it looks so good. Okay, okay, so we got our polenta, our broccolini. We're gonna go ahead and put our lamb on top. Once again, this is cooked medium rare. There we go. That's gonna be for me for later. We're gonna hit the top with some olive oil. And last but not least, I'm going to 1 second here. Grab one of my spoons. And we're just gonna hit the top with some of this warm salsa. Like I said, this is super simple. If you want to add some sun-dried tomatoes to this, maybe you want to switch the olives up a little bit and use casapachanos or whatever it may be, go for it. But the one thing about this is I don't want it to seem overwhelming. Cooking should not be overwhelming. There we go. If you've got some little pieces of garnish, whatever it may be, we can take some oregano, put it on top, go for it. But this is like super, super simple. I hope everyone was caught up there and it wasn't too overwhelming, but yeah, that's that. Beauty.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Chef Mandy.
You're very welcome. Thanks for having me.
No, this has been great. And I can confirm for everyone online, it does smell amazing in here. We're really, really lucky to have you.
Thank you.
Yeah, we did have a few questions from our audience. I know you went over some of this, but we'll just talk about these now here. So one question was, how do you keep the lamb hot? So maybe when you're preparing some of the other ingredients, what kind of strategies do you have?
So in a perfect world, if you're looking to tent your protein, tinfoil would be really nice. You can kind of wrap the protein in tinfoil and then put a rag on top of it, and it will keep its temp very well. But saying that, it's like when you rest something perfectly, it's not going to be steaming hot. Yeah, but that would be the answer to that, is you'd use tinfoil, wrap it up like a little parcel and put a rag on top.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So another one we had was, does steam mean that the temperature is too low?
No. So steam just means, so things that have a lot of moisture to it, as you cook them out, the steam kind of releases. It doesn't necessarily, it depends on what you're cooking though. So with meat especially, you're looking for more, I don't want to say smoke, but it doesn't mean that the temperature is too low. It might mean that it's overcrowded and that there's moisture is not doing what it's supposed to do, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, no, that's great. Thank you. I know you went over some of this in the video as well, but somebody else asked, what makes hand-picked lamb different to other lamb?
A lot. Number one, it's how it's bred. The attention to detail when breeding this product is exceptional. It does go through a cycle of different feeds. So for the last 3 months, it does feed off chicory, but it has full access to pastures. There is no, it's how the animal lives how it should be. And it just, that you can taste in the product itself. But I think it is the feed that they use. And I think it's the care that goes into the animal itself. It's also young. So that's a good answer as well. It does have a more delicate flavor than something that is older. In terms of meat, especially things like mutton, when it's like a 3 to 4 age, it does develop that gaminess, which you will not find with this product. So it's a bit more approachable for sure.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that. Yeah, I just want to express we've had a lot of really amazing comments. We have a lot of people that are really excited to go to your restaurant sometime.
Oh, awesome.
And try your delicious food as well
Beautiful.
as the lamb. Yeah, thanks again for coming tonight.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. We'll just go over a few housekeeping choices items. So for those that did sign up for the event tonight and are currently residing in BC, if you do fill out our survey link that you'll get at the end of this event, you will receive a nutrition buck. A nutrition buck is a $10 off coupon when you spend $50 or more. As well, you can also call any of your local Choices stores, and you can speak to any of our in-store nutritionists if you have any nutrition related questions, or if you have any questions about tonight's seminar as well. All right, so I just want to give one last thank you to Chef Mandy.
No problem. Thank you.
It was great having you.
Thank you very much, Kelsey.